Good morning, is it from Zetster's lab? Thank goodness it's a new morning. I even had to put some colorful earrings in just to get some color. So yesterday I did not have a very easy day. Husband fell ill. So some tummy bug, or I'm not sure what it was, but really he was very, very ill. And I'm not a nurse. Really, I'm many, many things, as you know by now, but nursing is not one of those strengths that I have. So it doesn't come naturally. So to me, it's scary. It's really not easy nursing someone, But I've learned another awesome thing once again. Not really learned, but I had to walk through it. I had to really, really practice what I preach. Many, many times I will. Sometimes when I lose it, husband will say, you got to practice what you preach, Then I say, I am practicing. So yesterday I was practicing, and something it went like this. There's a huge amount of suffering, I read this previously, that is generated not by the actual challenges of life, but by and last time I couldn't say this word, fictitious problems that the mind generates. Fiction. The mind generates fiction. And if we go along with that, that is how we destroy our peace, our life inside. So yesterday I had to practice this over and over again, because once again I had the strength, the wisdom, everything I needed to cope with what was happening. But I did not have the strength to cope with the fiction that my mind was generating. Things like, what happens if he dies? All of a sudden fear was just starting to rise up, and then I had to just let that mind thought go. I could have entertained it and start to think, what is going to happen if husband dies? How I'm going to cope? What do I need to do? Blah, 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 I thank heavens I did not, because I am learning how to live in the moment and not in fiction. So as soon as that thoughts came, I just let it go and came back to the moment. What was happening in the moment? Husband was lying down. He had his pills in. He drank a little bit of water. He was resting. Everything was good. And I had the strength to cope with that, to look after him, to see if he needs water, what he needs, plus to listen to the life in me telling me now it's time to take him to hospital, or now this or that. So I made sure when those thoughts came of what if he's going to die, to ignore them and just came back into the moment of what is really happening and how I needed to cope and deal with exactly what was happening. And that I could do. So then later on thoughts came once again, what if do I need to take him to the hospital? What if I take him to the hospital? Will I be able to pull the car out of the overfull garage? Things like that. Well, what if I need to come back and it is during the night time? And how long will we have to sit in the emergency ward? And, how am I going to get the sick man into the car? All those thoughts once again rushed into my mind, and once again, I had to ignore them. Just let them come and let them go. Acknowledge them and then let them go. Do not entertain them. So luckily, once again, not luckily, because I've learned this, do not entertain them. Just let them go and just cope with what you had to do. So never once during the day did I really feel from the life in me to take him to hospital. So we got through the day. On the other hand, he was sleeping most of the day, and I made him some soup. So I made the soup, made sure he eats some soup, made sure he drank water, looked into his room every once in a while, half an hour, and the rest, I was lying on the couch watching a beautiful series. And I had a great day. I could lie on the couch and just watch something. That is what I had the strength for while I was looking after husband. And at the end, yes, it was a tough, exhausting day, but it was a great day also, because I didn't went along with my mind and all its fictitious problems. I don't know why I struggle with that word so much, but fiction, vain imaginations, that is what steals, kills, and destroys the life in us. That is what makes us unable to cope with what is actually happening. If I went along with the thoughts of what if he dies and what if we need to hospital and blah, 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 I would not have been able to get victoriously filled with peace and joy. I mean a deep joy, not happiness, but joy. I got through the day. He got through the day, and I was calm. I was there for him, and it was miraculous, let me tell you, because it is much easier, much, much easier to go with the mind, to go and feed on and just allow that mind with all its lies and fiction and vain imaginations to just accumulate and just became this huge, huge storm that will destroy the life in you. It will take all the peace, joy, strength, whatever you need to get through your situation. The storm in your mind, if you allows that thing to become a storm, will destroy you. It will absolutely destroy that. And you won't have any strength, anything to cope with what you actually need to cope with, because this is it. Your outer journey, the wrong thing. There's a huge amount of suffering that is generated. No one said we're not going to go through tough situations in our journey through this realm. We all know it. It's tough. Like husband falling ill, and it's tough. It's a tough situation that I needed to go through and face. But that was capable. I could cope with that situation. But I could not cope with that situation if I allowed my mind to become this huge storm of vain imaginations. What if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? What if he dies? What if I need to take him to the hospital? What if, what if, what if I allowed those things to take over my mind, I would have fallen apart. You know, I would not have been able to cope. And that is what I've learned. As soon as I am unable to cope with any situation, I realize, what am I believing? Get back in this moment with what is actually happening and just deal with exactly what is actually happening now. Because I have in me the life, abundant life, that with all wisdom, all power, all patience, all long suffering, everything I needed to cope with him, I already had. But I did not have what I needed to cope with fictitious, fictional, vain imaginations about the situation. And we never have the strength and the wisdom to cope with those things because that is not actually happening. So I learned and I'm growing and I am thankful this morning because I was able to recognize immediately when those thoughts came that wasn't truth. It wasn't happening. So why will I entertain the enemy? You know, those thoughts that come in. The war is always in your mind. You have what it takes to deal with earthly situations you need to deal with, but you do not have the strength to cope with the war that you allow in your mind. And that I am learning. And yes, really it was tough. It's still tough. He's still not completely over it, but he's starting to eat, feeling much better. Even sat outside for a while. And we're going through the situation because we have what it takes, the abundant life inside. And by not entertaining all those fictional, vain imagination thoughts, I can even make a video. And I had a lovely time yesterday. And yes, I'm a little bit tired and I need to put some very crazy. I bought these in Thailand. It's like little dresses. Aren't they gorgeous? I even put them in just to get some strength. Not get some strength. I already have the strength. I just need to access the strength that's already in me. And in order to do that, I need to turn inwards and cope with this moment, this situation, and ignore and let those vain imaginations, lies, and the things that come in from the past. You know, last time when this happened, you need to rushed him to the hospital, and last time we went in the hospital, this happened and that happened, and you know, nothing of those things happened. Why do we drag them into our moment? That's why we don't have the strength to cope with what we need to cope with in this moment. Life flows and happens moment by moment. And we have what we need inside of us to cope with whatever we need to go through, whatever. If we just focus and be present in what is actually happening. Trust the life in me. I had to let those fears and vain imaginations pass through and had to go inside again and trust the life in me. and just say, life in me, my spiritual source, my Father, you will lead me. You will guide me. Moment by moment, you will provide for me what I need to get through this moment. If I had to take him to the hospital, then I would have gotten a very, very small, still strengthly inclination, or whatever you want to call it. It's time, take him to the hospital. And then I would have also gotten the strength to do it, the wisdom to do it, even the, won't say excitement, but you know what I mean, the urgency, right? It's time, let's go, I'll get you, and off we would have went, if that was the plan of the life in us, me and him. It wasn't. So why create all these scenarios and stuff, and then by allowing that, we lose the strength and everything to cope with what we actually need to cope with. So I am learning. I am so thankful that I can share this with you. I've got so much things actually to share, but I'm going to stop this video here because I think this is long enough, and I first had to get this off my chest, because this is life-changing wisdom. It's changing my life for the better, let me tell you. It's changing my experience of life in this realm into a wonderful experience. Yes, it enables me to cope with life and every situation I have to go through. And by experiencing peace and strength, calmness. Isn't that amazing? To experience calmness, a deep peace while going through this, instead of this absolutely hellish feeling. You cannot cope. This is too much for me. I'm not going to make it. I'm going to die. I hate this life. I hate being here. I hate my kids being away. They're not here to help me. Blah, blah, blah. Drag all those things into your moment and you cannot cope, because those things just kill, steals, and destroy the abundant life in you that we are provided with. When we entered into this realm, we were fully equipped, created in the image and likeness of our spiritual source, I call it Father. Life, abundant life. Go into this world and create a beautiful life. Go and create a life for you. That doesn't mean I have any power over what happens and comes next in situations and whatever. I didn't have power over the situation of your husband yesterday. It happened. He fell in dis-ease, and my reaction to what's happening, that's the only power I have. Our reaction to what is actually happening, that's where our power lies. And I'm realizing my reaction is deal with what is right in front of me in this moment, by being connected one with the life in me, and do not allow my mind, the enemy, to enter in with all its vain imaginations and fiction. Do not go there. Just be here. Do not go there by following your mind. Ignore your mind, let it go, and go inwards to the life in you, trusting all your needs are met In this moment, you have what it takes in you to get through this moment victoriously, because you have all wisdom, all power, all peace, all joy, all unconditional love, patience, long suffering. Whatever I needed, I had in me to cope with my husband's dis-ease, to get through the day, filled with peace, no fear. And that is how we create a wonderful life in this realm, and how we live victoriously through every situation. Because tomorrow we will have different things we have to cope with and get through. I've read you this also previously, but I saw it and I'm just going to end with this. Worrying, once again, is carrying tomorrow's load with today's strength. I only have strength to cope with these things that's happening in my life right now. So worrying makes you carry tomorrow, whatever. It's moving into tomorrow ahead of time. I was moving into, what if we need to go to the hospital? What if he dies, you know? Moving into tomorrow ahead of time, into the future, some future ahead of time. Worrying doesn't empty tomorrow of its sorrows. It empties today of its strength. If I had allowed myself to go into worrying, I would not have had the strength to cope with what I had to cope with. The same with today. Love you lots. Is it from Zetstersler? Okay, and I've got the life, the same life that you've got. And that river of abundant life is mightily flowing through us permanently. It's our life. It's our life source. It's who we are. We are wisdom and peace and joy and unconditional love and strength. But we miss that. We sidestep that when we start to go after the mind and all its fiction stories and vain imaginations. That's why we cannot cope and get through life situations this moment. Always, always, life is there for us. Life is flowing through us this moment. Always this moment. This moment all my needs are met. If I stop the war in my mind and move into the life, then all my needs are met. Love you lots.